This video is meant to be a thank you to anyone who supports Ravens content creators in any manner via subscription, sharing stuff on social media, watching, listening to while you drive, commenting on consistently. This is just a thank you for anyone who supports Ravens content creators like myself. And it's also going to be a stock report on the Ravens in 2022, where we are as we head into Thanksgiving with a reflection and comparison on how things were 1 year ago this week, heading into Thanksgiving, and a reminder of how the 2021 season finished in such an unusual manner and how unique the opportunity is, I think, that the Ravens franchise and a lot of our most important players, Lamar basically, have a chance to change a whole lot of perceptions about themselves, the Ravens, and certain things across the league. First off, let me directly say thank you to viewers, commentators, subscribers, channel members, Patreon, Discord supporters for consuming the content that we put out on this channel. I'm sure other content creators have their own ways of saying thank you to you guys, and I'm just trying to give back something that's hopefully a little tongue-in-cheek with the picture here. And out of respect and recognition for the various levels of support that you guys show. Because whatever level of interaction or commitment to support that you guys offer, it just helps content creators justify the time spent from a revenue standpoint. So thank you again. Personally, I'm very humbled to get to do this, and the feedback or comments, often helps me improve the process, product, and analysis that's here on this channel. I'm sure it's the same way for other Ravens content creators. So thank you. And when I say thanks, I mean all of you, whether you're Ravens flock or not, and no matter which Ravens fan group you find yourself in or get labeled as by others. So as you hopefully are checking out the pic here, because this audio is pre-recorded, it's not a live stream. I've been labeled as at least 4 or 5 of these subgroups or sects of Ravens flock myself at various times. And I kind of take it as a compliment, to be honest with you. We thought that this Thanksgiving dinner pick would kind of provide an opportunity to compare Ravens flock to a big family, crammed at the table together, forcing, say, the Legion of Gloom and Purple Patrol to sit next to one another and interact, kind of visually recreating the social media experience that a lot of us fans have when we're throwing our viewpoints or perspectives at one another, minute by minute on social media. It's meant lightly, for real, with humor, portraying each Ravens fan group as a family member, strategically seated to avoid or maybe promote disagreement. Depending on your family background, you might know what I mean. Most families often had to keep certain people separated in order to avoid trouble. In our family, sometimes, to be honest with you, people would, whoever the homeowner was, would sometimes occasionally put 2 people nearby intentionally to watch the fireworks. So upon deciding that we were going to create a Thanksgiving dinner pick from this Norman Rockwell classic, I engaged the help of everyone in our Discord, and boy, did they ever come through. A bunch of people in our Discord, I think we're up to like 72 people now, they were able to categorize our Ravens fan base into the related subgroups that you see here. And you may have to zoom in on some of it. I'm not sure if if you're watching on a phone, on a computer, or whatever, it's vertically oriented just because of the structure of the original picture. So again, this was done to hopefully represent everyone with succinct and accurate names and be a little, lighthearted with it. No matter what your perspective is on the Ravens, we hope you're represented here somewhere. Maybe I left one out. If so, let me know. Maybe you're like me and you feel like you have a foot or a slice of your ideas in each sect or group in this picture. Hopefully you can all coexist for a little while as we knock down the division and then chew through the AFC to the main course, the Super Bowl turkey. Give a little bit of elbow room if you can to the person next to you. Harbaugh haters, quit staring across lovingly at the new Lamar stands with the hat on, and why don't you get to know the Johnny U. Coltrane old fogies? They might have some wisdom to impart on you. Purple Patrol, lay off the Legion of Gloom a little bit. Let them have their fun. You guys have more in common than you realize. Twitter kids, get back on your phone, quiet down a little bit while I cut this Super Bowl turkey up. Why can't you sit patiently and be seen and not heard, like the Flacco comrades on the other side of the table? They're only heard from once or twice a year after the rare bad game or bad decision that Lamar has. We want to finish our meal, all of it, before any serious arguments or fights break out, okay? All right, on a serious note, obviously that was pre-recorded audio that I typed up. Let's compare where we are now to where we are in 2021 and try to take stock and be thankful, because that's what I'm trying to do here is promote a little bit of an attitude of gratitude. Where we are now compared to 2021. So on a serious note, step back from this table for a moment, consider where we were. We were 7-3 going into Thanksgiving last year. I believe we had just went into Chicago and beat the Bears 16-13. Maybe I'm wrong, but I know that it was a game that Lamar did not play, because you can see Tyler Huntley on screen right here. Huntley was able to get a win and help us rebound from that disappointing loss to the Dolphins on Thursday Night Football. Lamar was sick, not injured, and was able to return, I think, 4 days later. When we moved to 8-3 at that point with a 16-10 win over the Browns. We overcame the 4-interception day by Lamar, obviously. And somehow, despite catastrophic injuries, we were the number 1 seed in the AFC playoff picture, if I remember correctly. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. You know, he threw brilliantly underneath against the Steelers, but we failed on that late 2-point conversion try, and we lost 2019. And next week, some of the film you see here, Lamar only played a few series in Cleveland, and he suffered an ankle injury. Huntley did plenty of damage, some of which you see here, but he was unable to pull out a win. So another close loss. I think this one 24-22, excuse me, and we fell to 8-5. Huntley continued to show flashes of brilliance in the ending the season, often in excruciating manner. We had a 1-point home loss to the Packers, who were 11-3 at the time. Then another 1-point home loss to the eventual Super Bowl champion Rams, dropping the Ravens to 8-8, I believe. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the actual film that coincides with what I'm talking about. And then finally, to end the regular season, we had that just difficult to fathom 16-13 home loss to the Steelers. It's tough to understand because, you know, as a running team without our starting quarterback, we ran for 249 yards. Remember, that was the Latavius Murray game where he took over for large periods of the game en route to 150 yards, 1 touchdown on only like 16 carries. So what does this all mean? Where am I going with this? We're in a similar situation right now, but it's also vastly different in some ways. We're 7-3, but it's like the most disputed, argued about, anger-fueled 7-3 that the Ravens fan base has probably experienced. Although, you know, if you were a Ravens fan for a long time, even dating back to our first Super Bowl, there was stretches where people were turning on each other as fan base. And we're still dealing with a lot of the anger from 2021 and trying to justify our manner of play or justify certain players, Lamar, Marlon Humphrey, Ronnie Stanley, whoever. It's kind of incredible that here we are in week 12 the next year, and we still have some of those injuries hanging over our head. And we're 7-3 in the same spot we were last year, but, you know, it's 1 week advance. We were actually, I think 8-3 going into Thanksgiving. Maybe I misspoke a moment ago. We're getting ready to go on the road against a real fast defense with a sub-500 record. Lamar has an injury issue, apparently didn't practice on Wednesday, so there's a little bit of instability, I guess. Switching over to some new video. But the one thing that's not unstable, the one thing we can count on, no matter what our perspective is in terms of what we want this Ravens team to be, we have something we can absolutely rely on now, and it's our defense. Our guys are dominant. We're built defensively to get after people and disrupt whatever it is you want to accomplish. Last year's, you know, Ravens defense, we had injuries to Peters, Humphrey, Deshaun Elliott at one point. We had to insert Josh Bynes into the inside linebacker group just to get some consistency. I don't know if you're aware, by the way, Deshaun Elliott has like 68 tackles, an interception, and a fumble recovery this year for the Lions. He's playing quite well. We had a non-existent pass rush last year, forced us to play really soft coverages, and then often get picked apart underneath by the pass. This group is so different this year. We have a side of the ball that we can rely on. This defense is full of guys who can step up when the situation calls for it. So even though there's a lot of uncertainty around the offense, we didn't perform well last week. obviously. Although I think, Lamar was very sharp. You let me know. I've done a couple of offense videos, one about Demarcus Robinson, one about Lamar. I feel like he was really sharp last week. But there's injury questions, I guess, with him and the hip. Gus Edwards, Mark Andrews doesn't look 100%. Ronnie Stanley, I'm pretty sure, will not play this week. No matter what your preferred style of play is, if you're one of the, wide receiver only matters people, if you're one of the run the ball and play defense people, if you're the Lamar stands on the left-hand side of the original thumbnail pick here, it doesn't matter, to be honest with you, this week. We got to rely on our defense. There can be no doubt. This week we have to embrace a style that would have been hard to imagine in the opening month of the season when we were scoring a lot of points and giving up a lot of points too. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I respect what the Jags are building there. Some of you may know, if you follow my channel a lot, I followed the Jags intently, like the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. I did that. I kind of did that intentionally. I knew we were going to play them eventually, so wanted to get to know the team somewhat so I could do some previews. And I'm going to be honest with you, they're a talented group. You have Devin Lloyd, one of my favorite players from the draft last year. Foye Oluokun, our extremely underrated inside linebacker. Trayvon Walker, number 1 pick in the draft, incredibly talented, huge, very versatile for the size and strength that he has. Josh Allen, another edge rusher. They have some pieces. I would compare the Panthers' speed and athleticism up front favorably. I would compare the Jags' athleticism and speed up front favorably to the Panthers. And they just gave us, a lot of problems at home last week. So I think there's cause for concern among our offense about what we can get accomplished consistently depending on who's on the field Sunday. But I believe in what our guys can accomplish defensively. At this point, it's not hard for me to have complete faith in them. And that's a luxury that a lot of teams don't have. Now, maybe we'll go out there Sunday on the road in Florida and we'll crap to bed defensively. I don't think so. I think there's just too much talent there. There's too many guys who are high intensity, high effort, and have a lot of pride and character. I think we could be in for another physical game. And it, to me, doesn't matter what our approach is as a fan base, whatever group you find yourself in that's on the screen again. We should hold fast to, that perspective. Don't change your perspective. If you think the Ravens should be this or should do that, stay locked onto that. That's what, whenever people feel passionately about something, there's usually a reason why. So I'm not telling anybody what to think or what not to think. Having said that, with the offensive uncertainty this week, I want to kind of reorient our fan base toward what I believe is a goal that's coming into focus. And it's a goal that's made more realistic by the quality of defense that we're seeing. Our scoring in terms of points allowed per game is coming down quickly, it seems to me. And our goal to me that is out there is kind of foggy maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, but we're here recently seeing our defense play. It should be coming into focus a little more. Is that plump, almost obscene-looking Super Bowl turkey waiting at the front of the table. I think we're only about 50% of the way through this season, maybe 40%. If we want to get to where we want to go, 3, 4 playoff games played, however that shakes down, we're only 50% of the way, something like that, in terms of overall games played. And this could be a really historic season for the Ravens franchise and the league when you look at Lamar's contract situation, when you look at how the Ravens are, I guess some people say, an outlier in multiple ways. A lot of teams passed on Kyle Hamilton. We did not. A lot of teams have gone, almost exclusively to 11 personnel. The Ravens are not. Now, if you've paid any attention to my videos, recently we actually are using 11 personnel. It's just 12. Isaiah Likely is just a big slot receiver. Lamar not having an agent, playing this season with no guarantee of a contract, obviously. There's a lot of things that the Ravens are doing their way, and their players are doing their way. Even Roquan Smith doesn't have an agent, right, and doesn't have a contract. I would say expect everything in the second half of the season and the playoffs, but be surprised at nothing. I hope you guys enjoy the holiday break, however you can, however you celebrate it. Thank you again for your support for my channel, for supporting other Ravens content creators. Hope you support all of them. Frequent their pages. Leave comments to help, because all you got to do is leave comments and like people's video to just promote the YouTube algorithm, to push that video out to new audiences, and just helps people generate more revenue and justify their time spent. Because I can tell you, there's a lot of us that spend a whole hell of a lot of time. I want to thank you guys again for supporting all of us Raven content creators. Stay focused on the goal. Treat each other with respect as best you can. I appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the video, what you think of some of my thoughts here, and what you think of the badass graphic that the graphics guru was able to provide me with today. Can't wait till the time that I'm able to state who it is and reveal, because it's a super talented guy who put this together. And the guys in my Discord, I want to give you all a shout out for helping us create this. And this was really made, I would say, 40 to 50% with you guys' motivation and you guys' push, because of the names of each of the groups. If you think I left out any groups, let me know. I'm sure I probably did. And shout out to Josh Hoffman, who's down there at the bottom looking at y'all right now. Appreciate you guys' time. Have a happy Thanksgiving.